Alright, we just had a target hit, an AVP inside tickerTV, and I wanted to share the trade with you so that you could see what kind of stuff we do inside tickerTV. This trade was an intraday trade in AVP. First thing to mention is we're looking at the 2-day bars chart in AVP right here. So, we had earnings, which caused some downside pressure in the stock. Earnings came out this morning and pushed AVP, caused a bearish earnings related gap. After the opening bell, we saw extension to the downside. We saw a push as low as 29, started seeing stability at that psychological barrier 29, and then started to see a series of higher lows, creating a bit of a intraday trend, early on. But what really caught my eye was, if you take a look at RSI, early on we had an extremely oversold indication in RSI, but considering the downside momentum, I wasn't going to touch it then. But I did start to notice some nice uptrending in the RSI. So it started to trend nicely to the upside. Also, NYSE noted a bullish crossover right here just before 10 o'clock this morning, and also started noting some really strong trending here in NYSE back towards the zero line. So it was looking good there in NYSE. Those two secondary indicators, coupled with some nice price action, really sparked my interest. So I saw this really strong spike right here. So it was really a move from 29 to 30 between 10:40 and 11 o'clock. So in 20 minutes, it moved from 29 to 30, a significant move in this case from a percentage perspective intraday. So what I did was I saw that move and I placed a first triggers OCO, meaning once the first thing hits, it's going to trigger a one cancels other order. The first was a buy AVP at 29.52 limit. And the reason I picked 29.52 was because I wanted to see a 50% retracement of this move from 29 to 30. So just basically split that move and you'll get 29.50 roughly. So I went just above 29.50 since 29.50 is a bit of a psychological barrier, and chose 29.52. So the first again in the sequence was buy AVP at 29.52 limit. And the triggers OCO was going to trigger my stop and target since I was stepping away for a moment. My stop was 28.85, which would force AVP to get under that 29 intraday low and psychological barrier support. And my target was 31.50. So as you can see, I did pull back to 29.52 about 20 minutes after putting that first triggers OCO order in. And we started to see some nice solid intraday trending here in AVP from that point. So just got a really strong trend, and as we moved higher, I came back from lunch, I saw the trend, I liked the action, I was comfortable. I started revising my stop and minimizing. Initially I just locked in a little bit of profit, but I continued to push up along this uptrend line, giving it a little breathing room below uptrend support. As it continued to trickle to the upside, I just kept revising stops and locking in more and more profits. Eventually it hit the target of 31.50 and managed to get out of the trade for a gain of 6.71% before commissions. So we're looking at about 6.5% after commissions. And so we see some downside pressure since the target hit. We have faded in the stock, which is just kind of like a cherry on top of that trade. It was just a beautiful overall trade. Wanted to share my reasoning for entry with you. Wanted to share my whole process throughout the trade of revising stops and locking in profits. The key in this case was, usually if I'm putting in a hard stop, I'm going to give it plenty of breathing room so that it doesn't get manipulated and push me out of the trade. In this case, we had such a tight uptrend intact that I was comfortable getting a little bit tighter, but I still gave it plenty of breathing room under the uptrend support throughout the entire stop revision process until it actually hit the target. So a nice win for me, a nice win for tickerTV members, and a great way to end a last day before a week-long vacation, baby. Put some money in the pocket.